Welcome to this tutorial on creating bibliographies and in-text citations using Zotero's quick copy function. One of the best features about Zotero is its ability to create correctly formatted citations in a reference list or bibliography. There are a couple of different ways to create these lists. Quick copy is great if you just need to grab one or a few items to add a bibliography to an essay or a slide deck. One caveat is that you need to ensure that it is set up with your desired citation style, typically the one that you use the most. And one of the drawbacks is that you can't easily switch between styles in a document like you can with add-ons to Word or to Google Docs. And before we go over to the demonstration portion, I just want to point out that I'm on a Windows operating system, so your screen might look different if you're working on a Mac or other operating system. So to ensure that quick copy is set up correctly, you'll need to go into your Zotero settings, and on the export screen here under quick copy, make sure that the style that you use most often is in this item format dropdown. Notice that there are other styles beyond APA 7, but they are not as many as are listed actually in Zotero's full list of citations, which are available if you use the right-click option or one of the Word documentation add-ons. I'm going to make sure that my language is set to English, though there are other options, and they will do a little bit of translation, but it's mostly for things like the months of the year on a date or some of the other kind of additional words in a citation, not necessarily like the title of the article. That won't be translated if you use this. If you have copy HTML clicked, it will add on some HTML markup to kind of the back end of what you're pasting into your project, but truthfully it doesn't make a ton of difference whether or not this is clicked, but I'm just going to leave it as is right now. So quick copy works in one of two ways. The first way is to actually just grab one or multiple items and drag and drop it into your document. Now again, you might have to do a little bit of editing to make sure that it falls into the place that you want. It's also a good idea to double check to make sure that the information that's coming in with these is correct. So for example, I just pulled this one in and I noticed that the title is not in sentence case, which is what is needed for APA. So I can edit this really quickly. Better yet, I would probably want to go back into my Zotero library here and use the kind of inbuilt tools so that going forward, when I copy it and drop it in, it comes in perfectly. Okay. You can grab multiple ones at the same time. So if I'm pulling these in, you can pull multiple ones in. One thing to note though is that it does not automatically update the order of the citations. It's wherever your cursor is where it lands. So you might actually have to do a little bit of cutting and pasting to maintain that order that you want, and just to kind of clean up your list here. So again, this is really good if for just a couple of items, but if this is for a longer project, I would probably not use quick copy all that well. Quick copy also works well for slide decks, so Google Slides or PowerPoint, for example. And again, I'm just going to grab a couple of items here and drag and drop them into the text. Now you'll notice that with the slide decks, it actually creates its own text box. So again, you'll need to do a little bit of formatting to make sure that this works on the slide. In addition to the drag and drop method for quick copy, you are actually able to use a couple of different keyboard shortcuts. On Windows, if you hold down the Control, Shift, and C keys on your keyboard, it's going to grab whatever citation you want. And then when you go into the document and go ahead and paste in that item, it's going to pull in the citation. The other keyboard shortcut that is useful is actually to create in-text citations using quick copy. So for example, if I'm again going to put an in-text citation in for this Calic article, I'm going to hit Control Shift and A on my computer. and then back into the document, going to go ahead and paste in that item. So again, I've added in an in-text citation, and the in-text citation will also work with multiple items. So again, if you select multiple items in your Zotero library and hit Control-Shift-A again, going back over to our project here, and then pasting in that in-text citation wherever I need it to be. Now again, these came in as Calibri instead of Times New Roman, so I can go ahead and make sure that all the formatting for these is correct, and everything is in the correct fonts. You'll notice that when it comes to those in-text citations, Quick Copy does put them in alphabetical order by author's name. So it's something to pay attention to just in case something happens, but it typically works pretty well. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask a librarian or visit Zotero's documentation pages. And thank you for watching.